Hey, Node Investor here. How you guys like that Bitcoin chart? What a chart. Let me see here. Let me set up my other charts while we get going. I'm going to go dark and light. I'll just keep the music going a little louder until we get started, and then we'll go. What a chart. You sold at the high? That's awesome. Sold a little bit at 7,700. Well, half. I guess that's more than a little. The Legion of Node. Man, I don't know about you guys. I am loving all those custom reactions. I mean, I'm honored. There's several node specific ones. These are awesome. Okay, we got the viewers coming in. Take a look at some charts. You know, it's pretty crazy to see the initial reaction to some of these. And when Bitcoin started to sell off, we saw Neo, we saw Omise Go, and Stratus, Lisk. I got to tell you a funny story about Lisk. But we saw them all popping, and Litecoin and Ethereum were actually taking a hit initially to kind of correlate with Bitcoin. But here's Ethereum. There's Litecoin. This big old wick. Look at that volume. That's my elevator music. You know, it's kind of weird. It's supposed to be chill radio. Let me see if I can change the station here. Probably sounds weird coming across the mic. Throw some black keys on. Usually when I'm charting, I'm listening to something like really chill. Some sort of, you'd be surprised. Some sort of like chill music or some techno, or if it's late, I'll throw on some classical. I am multifaceted acoustic. Litecoin. Nice pullback. We're starting to see a little bit of bounces here. I'm liking it. Asia's waking up. It's going to be volatile, guys. It's going to be volatile. All right. So let's get going. We've got some viewers. We'll let some more folks start coming in here. So everyone on the Slack channel has been going crazy today. I mean, out of nowhere, just yesterday we were talking about, oh, I better hold 7,000, and I was looking at the wall at 7,200. I posted a video and then just quickly blew through 7,200 and then 7,400, and next thing you know, we're marching up, and I'm thinking, wow, like this was great. The only two positions I had open were Quantum, and no, I got stopped out of Quantum when Bitcoin blew through 7,400, and then I was still holding some Lisk. Didn't sell into the rally the first time. And so here's the funny story on Lisk. Where's Lisk here? Lisk. So here's my story on Lisk. So bought a little bit of a breakout here. This was a conditional order that got filled on Lisk, I think around 76 or some 66 here. And, you know, before this, the trades were small, the stops were tight, and oh, you got your kickball league. I get that. You better go. But had the big rally. Some of you guys sold into that. Smart. Took a nice little 10% pop. I didn't. I held. Rode it back down. Rode it back up. And no joke, I said, you know what? This is a good place to sell. And so I saw that second pop, started pulling back in, and I literally sold right there. I mean, could the timing be any better? I guess it could. I guess I could have sold right there. But it was pretty funny. Sold there and then saw it pull back. I thought, well, I guess that was a good sell. And then the rocket ship took off, and in 30 minutes, Lisk was up 25%. Hey, you know, you gotta love it. It is what it is. But now Lisk is looking pretty good here. So here's the pattern we're seeing in all of these altcoins right now, guys. So you don't want to chase that initial one. RSI was way overdone. Look at this, 80, 82. This pullback has reset the RSI. We're back to 60 and rising again. This is where you get on. So if you like these, the risk is lower here now. Look at the volume on the pullback. I mean, this is a big red candle, but that's a support bar. But look at the volume on the pullback. This is the 1 hour chart. This is where you start picking these names up on the bounce. Now you got to give them a little bit more room because they're going to be volatile. So if you buy it here, I mean, now you're talking a 5-6% stop at least. Could come down a little bit more before you get shaken out. But that's kind of what I'm looking at if you like these names on the pullback. And so that's how you got to do it. But the thing is, on the 4 hour charts, they're still extended. But at least RSI has come down some. Earlier it was at 80, and a lot of these are way over that. It's come down some. And so as long as we start to pause and maybe kind of flag down a little bit, this is where you start taking them. So Lisk is one of them. I'm thinking it's a good buy here with the stop right around that 76, or maybe not that high, but that low, maybe around 76 and change, 77. So that's what I like. I'm going to start putting some orders in here. Let's take a look at some of these other ones. Omise Go. Omise Go. Again, same thing. Rally, RSI coming down back to the 50s, looking like he wants to start heading north again. That's the 30-minute chart. On the 1 hour, hitting at 10 EMA. You guys know me in my 10 EMA. I'm loving it. And so it's holding 4 hour, still very oversold or overbought, excuse me, but holding here. And what tends to happen on the 4 hour, by the time the next bar shows up, you'll see this moving average catch up. So it'll look as if the wick came down to that 10 EMA or close to it. So it's a little bit lagging on the 4 hour. So keep that in mind. That's why sometimes the best play is the 1 hour when things are moving very fast. 30 minutes might be a little too much volatility. You might get in a little too early on these, but 1 hour is pretty safe right now. And if you want to be a little safer, the 2 hour, you can see the 10 EMA popping right to that. Volume on the decline. All in all, it's looking good. So there's two ways to do this, right? You can wait for that signal where they kind of touch and then they start to head back up. And so you can take it here, or you can put in some buy orders below, right? So let's find one that's still in pullback mode. Let's see what NEO's looking like. Let me clear my notes. If you guys didn't see that, I sent a little quick newsletter out just a little bit ago. So NEO is still kind of in pullback mode on the 1 hour. It's right there. And so you can, if you don't want to take it here, you want to give it some more time, you know, you put your buy orders kind of at this point. And if you really want to get aggressive, you put some down here toward the lows and see if it gets hit. And that's the way to do it. These things are just moving back and forth so much. There's a good chance you'll get filled on some of those orders when they're that volatile. So it's going to be interesting. So here's the two scenarios, right? So going into the fork, I was looking at two possible things. Obviously, this black swan event, if you will, kind of blows it out of the water. And so my two most likely scenarios going into the fork were, one, Bitcoin continues to rally, hits new highs into the B2X, and immediately following the block, we'd see a dump in Bitcoin and an altcoin rally. My second scenario, and the one I was leaning towards more here recently, was the alts would begin to rally pre-fork. Bitcoin maybe would go sideways to slightly down or slightly up, but the big rally wouldn't continue. I think alts were going to start bottoming out pre-fork, just because the forked coin, the chain split coin, would not outweigh the potential gain in the alts. And that's exactly what we're seeing, right? So the altcoins are rallying 20-30%, and Bitcoin is falling a little bit. Just happened to happen too early, and it caught everybody by surprise. And so Bitcoin today had that big pop. Saw that rally. I sold off half into cash fiat position right around 7,700. Saw it dump, but the alts were rallying. And so what I'm hoping to see now is a little bit more normalization in the correlation of Bitcoin and the altcoins. So traditionally, most of this year at least, they're pretty closely correlated. You know, they might change places back and forth, but not like we're seeing now where Bitcoin would rally and the alts would just dump hard. And I think most of that was investor driven going into the fork. Now that that's off the table, we might see a little bit more correlation. What do I expect Bitcoin to do here? Bitcoin, I'm not going to lie, that's a big, yeah, until they announce a new fork date. And that's the big concern I have, right? It's off the table for now, which is really annoying, but it's off the table. So whatever. We just got to go with it. Everybody's happy until the next FUD. But, you know, so here's what I'm thinking will happen right now. Bitcoin, this is a big bearish reversal bar here. I don't like that. Now, I think this big pop was just a short covering rally. There was a lot of people short here, and it caught everybody by surprise. And then the immediate dump, which was correlated to the fork or the alt rally, excuse me. And you can see that bottomed right around that 7,000 mark. So at least that's being defended. We're starting to bounce now, but the bounce has been pretty weak. Volume is low. You can see the RSI here is pretty weak. On the 4-hour, you can see the big red candle with the big volume reversal. That's a classic big volume reversal. Potentially could set up a little bit of a double top. Best case scenario, it's just the pause that Bitcoin really needs. A new base to be set up here would be best case scenario while the alts rally, right? That's kind of what I'm looking at as best case. Is look at the daily chart here. You look at the daily and there's a big wick. The volume's big, but the daily is solid, riding that trend still, right? So until that breaks, it's really hard to get bearish. Now, that line is down to 7,000 now, right? So it's getting close, which is good. But there's nothing bearish about the daily chart at all. The thing is, yeah, on B2X, it tends to swing pretty wide there. But I'd like to see Bitcoin base out here, right? I'd like to see maybe some backfill in. Who knows? Maybe even new highs, but the rally in the alts should start to correlate, and they better stick with Bitcoin. So you're seeing them. We saw Dash break out here, break that declining trend line. We're seeing Decred on the daily finally starting to poke above that 10 EMA. Nice little double bottom starting to form there. In the near term, everything is like this, right? Just super big pullback, starting to pop a little bit here. On the daily, though, things are just now starting to turn the corner. This is what we needed. Let me cycle through a couple more. Then we'll do some more in-depth charts. But just to give you an idea, right? They're still pausing below the 10 EMA. So it's not official yet. Some of these are looking strong. EOS, right? Look at how strong that's looking. Fundamentally, I'm not a big fan, but can't argue with that chart. I think there's still that overhead coin supply, but maybe not. Ethereum, back and forth a little bit there. But Ethereum versus the dollar, not bad. Still sitting tight. Let me see what IOTA did today. Nice volume. A little bit, but see what you don't want to see is I'm really hoping it's not this scenario right here. Right. We had that Bitcoin gold fork, and granted, there was another fork and the real fork was coming. Hopefully we don't see one of those again. I'm leaning towards we won't, only because the last couple of days we've seen a pretty good bottom start put in. RSI has been going bullish divergence on a lot of these, and so that's a good sign. There's IOTA USD, very strong. Komodo, big support bar. So could be a little breakout. Hasn't really broken out officially yet on the 4-hour, but it's really close. So you start to see break above that. That's a good breakout. Big support bar there today. Let's see, Lisk. Nice volume coming in on Lisk. Also moving up. So the thing that I guess I'm trying to say is be patient, right? We're going to see these pops, these rallies. go ahead and wait for the little bit of pullback, jump on them then. You don't have to chase these. And if you do, if you happen to get on there, the standard 3-4% stop is not going to be good here because it's going to probably shake you out. And so you got to either, one, be willing to hold through more volatility potentially, so wider stops, maybe up to 10%, or just wait it out until you get a better setup, even if it goes higher and then like starts to put in one of these bases, right? Those are the type of things you want to start looking for. So we've switched gears a little bit from these big bottoming patterns, especially on the 1 hour and the 4 hour charts. We've been looking at like double bottoms and potential inverted head and shoulders. Anything that looks like this now, you're going to want to switch gears a little bit and start looking for bull flags. You're going to want to start looking for ascending triangles, potentially cup and handles starting to form, right? So start looking for those type of patterns, those what they call continuation patterns, right? So we have a big rally. Maybe we're from the very lows, we're already up 30, 40, 50%. And then what tends to happen is you pause, either you do a bull flag and then break out, or you do a cup and handle type of thing where you start to rally again, put in a little bit of a handle here and then break out. So those are the type of patterns you want to be looking for. So let me get to some comments here. I've been rambling for a little bit. So let me catch up. Some of the larger names. So just off the top, Neo, Omise Go, Monero Dash. I think Litecoin's going to get a bid. Let me look at Bitcoin Cash. It was looking pretty good earlier and then had a big sell-off. Yeah, probably not Bitcoin Cash right now. Kind of all the names, right? Pivx was one that I was watching today. 10X also. Pivx is just now edging out, so pretty good here. They're stepping its way up. Quantum is a good one. Been strong. Lesson learned on Quantum. I put my stop way too tight here yesterday. Got stopped out and missed a little bit of a rally here. Stratus is another one that was popping pretty good. Kind of reversing here a little bit, but expected, right? At the big rally. I mean, just look how extended that was above the 10 EMA on the 4 hour. I mean, it was crazy extended. So you just when you see that, if you're willing to trade these in and out, you just got to take profits when you see those kind of extensions, because that's not a bad profit in a few hours time. So CME futures. So there's two big additional, I would say, catalysts to see these markets just really take off here. One is the CME futures, right? Could enter the market, could see more people buying cryptos, hedge funds coming in, all that. The other one is the China, right? I'm betting. I would put money on this, and I might, right? But wait for China to come out and officially say we'll have a crypto exchange now, or Bitcoin's going to be regulated, but we're going to allow it. Just wait for that, and boom, these markets are going to really take off. So that's kind of the two things I'm really looking at here. I'm just waiting for that to happen. But for now, just be in, right? And so right now, my position is I'm 50% Bitcoin, 50% cash. And I'm kind of watching Bitcoin here to see if this bounce is going to fade. And I think it will. And so when this bounce on Bitcoin ends, I think the alts are going to take round 2 to the upside here. So we're getting close. I think alts are starting to look good here. But again, daily, 4 hour, can't complain too much about that. So do I think the CME would put more downward pressure? It could put more stability, but here's the thing with the CME. There's two scenarios. The first is, you got to remember, this is a futures contract that settles in cash. So just because a bunch of people start trading futures doesn't mean Bitcoin is going to necessarily see an influx of millions or billions of dollars. But what it allows is the big funds that traditionally will not invest in anything that they can't hedge, meaning they won't buy a stock if they can't buy options against it in case it goes down. Commodities, they won't buy commodities like oil or gold or silver or anything like that unless they can hedge against it. And so having a futures contract will allow you to hedge. So then if I can say, hey, I'm going to go buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin, then I'm going to buy a couple contracts to go short at a certain price in case the price crashes. While I'm selling my Bitcoin, I'm making money on the short side. And so it's a little bit of a hedge. That's how they do it. The professionals will always hedge their bets and cover both sides. And so I think long term, it'll help. What I'm afraid of is I see the dog, or that's bad. That's a bad example, but I see the tail wagging the dog here ultimately, right? So Bitcoin being the body there, the main thing, and the futures being the derivatives. In theory, the futures are supposed to be correlated to the price of Bitcoin, but very often what happens is the commodity begins to follow the futures price, right? So people start looking at, oh, what's the futures? Oh, you know, December futures are forecasting 8,000 Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. Oh no, the futures are forecasting 6,000 Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin. So then you start to get in this scenario where the tail wags the dog, and it's very easy to manipulate the futures price because there's no limit. You can just keep pumping out contracts. Now it's in theory a zero-sum game because for every buyer of a contract, there has to be a seller to take the other side. But it's going to get real interesting when that happens. That's the big money coming in and potentially influencing the price of Bitcoin way more than they are now. So that's my little rant, but I think for now, we enjoy the party. So let's see here. Bitcoin's still going up. Man, oh man. Hey, maybe it just keeps going. Maybe it goes parabolic now. See you, Brandon. All right. So what else is going on here? So let me get back to some of these charts. Let's take a look at NEO. What's going on with NEO? Is it buyable yet? NEO. So this is the daily chart of NEO. Still the big downtrend is in place here. Let me clear some of these lines, right? But near term, that's a big volume bar. That's a bullish bar. Selling down a little bit still here on the 4-hour. On the 1-hour bar, still putting in these wicks. So actually not a bad entry here. I mean, if you like NEO, you pick it up here with a very tight 2% stop. And if it continues to flag down, then no big deal. Not bad. Actually, I wouldn't be against this entry on NEO here. With your low, basically the low of this most recent pullback. But man, I really want to see these alts start positively correlating to Bitcoin here soon. So I'm liking NEO here. It's looking good. Let's take a look at Monero. Yeah, Monero, super strong. It was Monero BTC. Didn't even pull back. So man, and I was talking Monero last night too. Now, granted, nobody knew that B2X would be canceled, so this might have not happened. But it was real interesting too, because when it happened, Monero actually sold off, which was really surprising. So it was rallying, and then the Bitcoin pop happened, and then Monero sold down 8%. So even if I would have picked it up yesterday, that would have stopped me out, because I probably would have had my stop right here around 132, and I would have been shook out of that one. But it's not too late. And you know, that's the thing. These are really nice. They're moving big, but I'm not afraid to wait. I mean, 75 RSI, that's not too bad. Let me see on the 4-hour. Could give you a little bit more run for sure. It just feels extended here. A lot of these do, unfortunately, and it's a tough call to say, do I jump on this now? Kind of almost would rather just wait, pick one that's not. But look at on the USD, man, that's a solid chart. After breaking out here the other day, just solid. Look at that breakout. So covered it here. I think I covered this one in a video, but there's multiple support here, big volume breakout, nice pullback, never breached that rising 10 EMA on the daily, and then bam, today. Very nice chart. Let's see what Dash is doing. Dash is another one that I was liking here. Again, this was one where there was a big downtrend that I've been following. Let me change the color here for you guys. This long-term downtrend that was in place in Dash that is finally breached and moving higher. Volume's coming up. RSI is nowhere near overbought yet, so I think this one can keep going. I actually picked up some Dash for my longer-term holdings yesterday when this thing happened. And I was actually buying some here at the lows, luckily, but not a huge position, but just little by little adding in. I was mostly Bitcoin, still am. My second largest position has been Ethereum on my long-term holdings, and that one's kind of not doing as well as I would have hoped. I'm sure the whole parity wallet is keeping it at bay here. That was, what a fiasco, man. I can't believe that. It's just, it's almost comical at how easy it was to just destroy hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, I mean, it's not destroyed per se, but wow. We've got a lot of work to do before smart contracts go mainstream. Let's just put it that way. But this is looking good too on the USD chart. I'm thinking this is still a good hold. I'd like to see a little bit more strength on this one though. Definitely underperforming some of the other ones. Let's see here, IOTA. We talked to that one. So let me go back to my hit list here. So I'll just start at the top here. ADA, so Cardano, however you say that. Pull it in on the 1 hour. Start to dip below that 10 EMA. If you like it, this is where you start to look at it. You start to pick it up here, and you keep a tight stop. On the 4 hour chart, however, it can pull in a little bit further, but what I don't like is this double wick, big volume to the top twice. So it better hold here, right, on the 4 hour. If the 4 hour bar, the red bar, is just as long as this green one, that's generally not a good sign. If it's shorter and it holds, then you could probably discount those wicks a little bit. But on the 1 hour, it's not too bad, but it's a lot of sellers coming in here. 8X. Let me see here. Looking nice. Had a huge rally today. Starting to bounce off that 10 EMA on the 1 hour. So not bad at all. Very nice on the daily chart. Was one of the few that had already started to turn the corner. You can argue for a big double bottom here. So not bad. Not bad at all here. Again, like most of these, you probably want to buy it on the bounce. What's the stop on this one here? I mean, if you pick it up here, it might be a little too extended. That's not too bad. I mean, you got to just be willing to live with 6-7% right now, at least, or more to stay in, because these are going to be a little shaky here in the coming days, is my guess. Ooh, ARK pulling right back to it. Nice low volume pullback. I might have to look at this one a little closer here. This one's looking good. See what it looks like on the daily. Yeah, let me see ARK USD. It's a nice little base here at the top, kind of rounding out the right side of a base potentially. So, yeah, not bad. I'm liking ARK. Let me make some notes here so I can do some more research post after this call and start thinking about what trades to make next. So give me 1 second here. I'll note ARK and NEO. Of course, we already looked at NEO. So there's a question here. Cashed out of quite a bit of US. Let me see. You cashed out into USD. Is it safe place to put into BTC or wait? It depends. Do you want to buy BTC to start trading alts, or do you just want to hold BTC? Because if it's just to hold BTC, I mean, I would think you're going to want to wait for a little dip. 7,000 was the place to look at it again, right? It's been that place several times in the last 3 days. And for those of you that are keeping up on my notes here on the channel, I was 25% Bitcoin here in over the weekend when it started pulling in. I had sold some here, but not a lot. 25%. And then I bought, I believe it was just below 7,000. It was like 69.40 or something. And I was buying on the dip. And then it rallied, and then it pulled right back to that. And my stop was still kind of that 6,800 mark. And then today sold here. So it's kind of hard to say here. I think Bitcoin is starting to lose a little bit of momentum here, a little bit of steam. Just, I think it's due for more of a base. If you look at the RSI, it'd be nice if the RSI kind of just like rounded out and did that. Yeah, I don't know. That's just a big volume reversal that I think you're going to see some sellers show up here, but who knows? I mean, maybe the post fork is bullish for everything all around and it starts to rally. But if you like it, I mean, it just bounced off the 10 EMA on the daily. It's strong here. Worst case, you give it to about 7K or just below and you get stopped out. And if from a percentage basis, I mean, that's a little over 6%, almost 7%. So you got to kind of depend if you're willing to take that trade. I'm holding 50% Bitcoin right now only because I'm going to be putting some alt orders in. And I will look to make the rest in if I see some more alt setups that look good. And a lot of these will trade in USD pairs like Neo and Ethereum and Litecoin and all that. So it's easy to get in from that angle. So it just depends. If you want to trade, use it to trade, then I say, yeah, put some in. But you might want to flip into alts here pretty soon. So let me keep going down the list here. But I appreciate your feedback, by the way, about some of my trades. It has been tough. I got to tell you, these last 2 weeks have been tough, but there's been some good trading here and there. Takes a lot of work though, right? You guys are starting to realize trading, especially in these markets where they're just so fast. I think we'll get back into some more stable waters, hopefully, where you can do more swing style trades a couple days or weeks at a time. But man, right now it's just you just take the profits, I think. But I'm hoping this post fork nonsense starts to change the tune here a little bit, and alts will begin to show more of a sustained rally. And can you ignore the big reversal because it's news? And yes, partially you have to discount it a little bit because of that. You do have to take that into account, right? Just looking at the technicals purely, right, you would factor it in, but knowing the context, and you always have to put everything in context, right? That's the thing I mentioned with technical analysis. Yeah, it's technical analysis, but it's always in context of what's the market condition. And it's hard to just look at a chart and say that, right? Especially with alts. You look at altcoins, you always have to look at them in context of what's Bitcoin doing and what's the general market, right? Just looking at a chart, nobody would know about B2X, right? And so, yeah, I think you have to discount that big volume reversal a little bit. But some of that is certainly money moving into alts. I think the general public, the big crowd, is still wanting to buy Bitcoin, and everybody's talking about Bitcoin and just Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum or Litecoin, but it's mostly just Bitcoin. And so they're going to buy Bitcoin, and it's going to be a while before they start looking at, oh, what's Decred and what's Neo and all that fun stuff. It won't take too long, as you guys all know. You just quickly discover the other markets, but yeah. All right, so let's see here. Speaking of Decred, I'm liking Decred. Looking good here. Nice low volume pullback. Very constructive. Might have to look some on the trade side. I did pick a little bit up for my longer term holdings, and not bad. I was picking some up here at the lows. It's only up a little bit. Let me see here. We're probably up about 14%. Not too bad. It was a high risk entry for sure because it hasn't confirmed, but now it's starting to look better. So I like Decred here. Might be a good secondary entry here on this pullback. It's holding pretty tight here. Looks good. Let's see what else here. Civic. I skipped over Civic. Man, big reversal, but look at the volume. Not too bad. Not too bad. Big reversal, mostly I'm guessing from a lack of a market. This is a big wick right here, though. And can I see a big candle here? Big volume, but it's bouncing right off of that 1 hour 10 EMA. Not too bad on the 4 hour. So if you took it here, you'd do something like put an entry here, or maybe just above or below, and that's not bad. It's a less than a 3% risk on that, and you get out of the way if it doesn't work. So thinking Civic, it's a good low entry risk here. All right, Dash. We talked Dash. I like Dash. Starting to march along just nicely here. I like these steady climbers. They're nice because what tends to happen on these steady climbers is they gain momentum, right? So they'll start to do these, and they'll pull back, and all of a sudden the next leg is a little bit steeper, and then they'll pull back, and you'll have like a third pump that just starts to go. So I like to see those. Kind of looks like Japanese writing or something there. All right. Yeah, we'll get to quantum. So EOS for our bar. Not too bad here, actually. Kind of putting in a little handle. A lot of sellers showing up there. What's the risk on this one here? If you, we're still about 5% to the upside, 3-4%. That's nothing. If I were looking at EOS personally, I would wait for a breakout. So I probably wouldn't take it until it started to clear the level here and just catch it on the momentum rather than buying a dip on this one right now. Japanese with a ponytail. Ethereum Classic sitting real tight. Look at that. What's going on, Ethereum Classic? No action today? That's very surprising. That's very surprising. How could Ethereum Classic be in a 3% range when the whole world is going crazy? Really? Let me see here. I gotta see this. What's the ETC BTC pair or USD pair? Yeah, BTC. Surprisingly tight. Still pulling in a little bit, going dark on you guys. It's a big support here today. All right, so let me throw some hours on here to see what the daily looks like. You can see all my markups. Always looking at charts non-stop. It's nice though. Good volume patterns here. Nice little pullback. Good little handle coming in here. It's just crazy that it was that tight. I'm really surprised. I want to look at this one, guys. Ethereum over 14. Ethereum Classic over $14 might be a good entry there if it can pop. Ethereum pulling in, continues to pull in here. No love for Ethereum right now. It's holding though. It's holding. Man, Bitcoin near 7,500. Just rocking it. Not bad. Metaverse. Man, all these charts look almost the same. It's amazing. So there you go. Right there on Metaverse. Mostly at a lot. This is perfect. I mean, this is what you like. You like to see this rally. You like to see the sell volume contained, RSIs coming down from oversold, overbought conditions. That's a big doji on the 4 hour though. Wow. Daily not bad, still below the 10 EMA, but turning the corner. That's why a lot of these, I mean, unless it's a favorite of yours, you might want to wait for confirmation or just stick with the more stronger names for now. Monero, Neo, those ones that are starting to get above the moving average and are showing a little more strength. Game, Genosis, smaller name, but strong today. Low volume, very low volume. Golem, I don't even know why I look at Golem. Will it ever come back? I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? Jeez. That's a rough looking chart of Golem. I'd pass. We talked IOTA. Let me clear some of this mess here for you guys on the IOTA, and we'll do a little more look at that. Some big volume accumulation bars happening here on IOTA down at these lows. Pulling in on the 4-hour, definitely hit some extreme levels, but holding up pretty good on the 1 hour, just bouncing off that moving average right now. We've had a big move today, so I think patience is fine. You don't have to feel like you got to jump on all of these right away. Komodo, I think we talked Komodo. Just look for that breakout. Lisk. I think Lisk has more to go on the upside on the daily chart. I think you're going to see a big turnaround on Lisk. That was a big volume bar today. Huge volume. So I'd be paying attention to Lisk. Look for a good entry on that one. Litecoin. Litecoin USD is pretty strong, but that's mostly Bitcoin. But if you look at, you know, the trend, the big trend that has been following forever, it's still going. I mean, it's just holding this line. It's pretty good. I mean, traditionally, if you're looking at Litecoin just at the USD point, you buy on that line. It's just been a point in time going back to, what is this? It's June. Since June. I mean, we had the big shakeout here, but wow. Strong, no doubt. A little extended on the 4-hour, though. I'd like to see some of this pull in a little bit. It's just higher risk now. Monaco. Nice little reversal. I don't know. Are these going to come back? That's pretty tight action there on the 1 hour. But let's see here. Metal. Woo. That's a big sell-off on metal. Someone was just waiting to dump it there. Couldn't even really break out. A lot of these, you notice, have broke out of that channel resistance we've been in for the last couple of days, weeks. This one struggled to get above that even. Couldn't hold the levels. Not a good sign. Gonna wait. Neo. So, right, the channel here that I was looking at, and you can even discount this little bump. This kind of was that level. Big pull out. Let's see here. Looks like they're pulling in a little bit here with Bitcoin rallying still. Steam. Yeah, actually, I was looking at Steam today. It was looking pretty solid. We'll take a look here. So Neo. I'm looking for a place to get back on Neo. Let me see. You know what? I was watching on Neo too. Let me see how it's doing relative to that. Remember I told you guys that 43, 44 area was going to be the wall that it really needs to get above? And it did today, but look, it just kind of pulled right back. And I think there's a lot of holders that are trying to sell into those rallies. So that's kind of the wall we want to see it take out here. So be nice to finally get above that. If Neo can start to flag out here and then bust through that wall right around 44, you might see finally Neo turning around and start showing us more of a sustained rally. Am I on Steemit? I am. I'm actually on Steemit now, and I'm trying to keep up with it a little bit more than I used to. So at minimum, I'm posting all of my videos and links and stuff. And when I throw a newsletter out, I'll try to get out on Steemit. So starting to get a little more active on Steemit. I don't advertise it a whole lot yet just because I'm not as active, but it's out there now. So Neo, I like Neo here. Again, though, that's going to be a big resistance point. $30 Neo. How does that correlate on the USD to that line? See, the thing is, the USD chart of Neo actually looks really good. When I see this little tight action here, that's a good chart. Me say go. Nice volume on Omisego today. Very nice. Good breakout volume. Well, I don't know if it's breakout volume, but it's definitely bottoming action. Oh, man, I just killed my moving average. It's all right. I'll make it easy and change this one out here. Fix it later. All right, let's see here. So I'm going to do another live stream, guys. I'll be back on in about 4 or 5 hours for some of the later folks. But Omisego, not bad. I'm liking it. All right, let's see what else. Omisego USD, even stronger looking. Very nice action. I might have to enter this one from my cash position and keep my BTC for another trade. So I'm liking that. I'm liking this little bit of a flag it's putting in here. If it holds this level, that's the entry. So I like it. Omisego USD. Cool. Glad to have you. Yeah, so feel free to tune in. Questions. I'll try to keep active on the live streams for this group. Debating doing a broader live stream, but we'll see. I hate to do the broader ones because I don't want to talk like trades and positions in those live streams just because it changes fast, right? And it's not fair if I go on to the broader YouTube community and say, hey, I'm buying this and I'm selling and I'm holding this if you guys know when I sell it and everybody else doesn't. So 10x looking good. I like 10x here. Looks like it's starting to bounce off here, so might be a good entry on 10x right here. Not bad. 5% stop to the downside. What's it look like on the 4-hour? This is pretty solid. Nice little bull flag. Looks like it wants to start to break out of it. So it's getting close. On the daily, the challenge with these names is there's going to be a lot of folks in your situation holding some of this stuff and wanting to recover. So you might start to see some big walls of resistance along the way, especially when they've been down this far, right? I mean, this is new lows on 10x coming off of brand new lows. Not everything is that bad, right? Like Omisego didn't go all the way back down to where it started, right? It didn't go back down to $3 or $2. Big hit for sure, but not to the magnitude of 10x. Down here at the lows, though, it's looking solid. And the thing is, you got to realize the magnitude of a potential rally. I mean, even though it's like down here at the lows, percent-wise, I mean, even if it just goes to this point, that's 32%. If it goes to the next major resistance, you're at 48% and then 68. I mean, that's huge. Even if it goes back to here, 183%. Not saying it goes that far, but man, all it has to do is have a decent bounce here, and that's a massive run up. B2X starting to bounce here off the lows. Probably not as strong as some of the other names, but I like this 4-hour chart of B2X. Good volume coming in here. Hardly any sellers showing up today, so very nice. This little bull flag was a good entry here, but it's pausing here. You might want to pick some up here if you like B2X, or if you're holding it, definitely keep holding it. Probably use a 10 EMA as your stop on this one here. It's a little extended though. That's the challenge with this one. I think it needs more pause time. It's hit a 73 RSI. I mean, sure, it could go to 85, maybe more, but that's, I mean, you got to think about that, right? Something's had this run up right here. RSI is getting pretty high. I mean, how much more could it go before RSI gets extended and then it has a pretty decent correction? So, I mean, you might get another 8-10% out of it. Is it worth the risk? I think you're better off looking at some other ones. But it's setting up nicely. But who knows in this market? It's a small volume name, and it doesn't take a whole lot to move it. All right, so let's see here. Augers, small name, storage, volatile. Steam. So I was looking at Steam today. I saw the big volume reversal come in today. Nice pullback, holding that moving average. If you zoom out to the 4-hour chart, it was putting in a real similar pattern, except for volume on the upside today on Steam was pretty significant. It was probably one of the bigger ones, relatively speaking, right? So if you look at the relative volume on this one, had a nice move. So I like this one. I mean, just look at those bars, just massive volume off the lows. So I'd be looking at this one. If you like it, personally, I would wait for it to break out above this most recent high today. And so, you're looking for a move from here. If you take it here, your stop's pretty tight. I mean, you don't need to give it too much room, maybe 3 or 4%. On the upside, it's about to break out. So I like it here. Steam, I wouldn't be against getting some steam here. Bcash. I haven't looked at Bcash. Let's go back to Bcash here. So there's Stratus. Took a little profit on Stratus today. Pulling in. Nice constructive pullback. Might be time to hop back on this train. Look at that 4-hour just going sideways. Super tight action. Not bad. Still below the 10 EMA on the daily though, but right there. Really wants to clear. And that's an important clear because look at it's multiple levels that you're going to clear. You're going to clear the 10 EMA and you're also going to clear these 2 big points here, which are a key resistance level. It tried to today, but reversed. Once we start to get back above that, you're going to start to see a double bottom pattern form on Stratus if we can start to move higher here. And if you do see a double bottom, if that's a true double bottom, so you can do a technical move on a double bottom. And this is a massive double bottom, by the way. So if you do a pure technical measurement on a double bottom, the way you do that is you measure the second low from the neckline up, and then you take that up to the break line, the break point. So if you say it breaks out here, let me fix that. There you go. You take it up here to the breakout point, and if it breaks out and you don't buy it until the breakout, you're still getting a 55% run on a double bottom breakout. If you buy it here, obviously, even just running to the neckline, it's going to give you a 78% run and 173. So if you like Stratus and if you're a believer in the project and you want to hold this one longer term, this is where you get it. Man, you just get it here and you keep it tight, not too tight of a stop if you're more holding it long term, but give it a few percent to the downside, 10% maybe at the most, but this is a solid looking pattern long term. Four-hour, huge reversal, sitting tight right below that key resistance point. I'm betting it busts out. Just the hourly chart is looking really strong. Might be time to hop on Stratus, and this one might be a hold. Like, if it really does start to move here, this might be like multi-day, multi-week hold if it, if you can ride it up. Because you got to remember, it's stair steps. Nothing goes straight up. So you got to ride them up. You got to hold through the 10, 15% pull back, ride it up, hold through 15, 20%, ride them up, right? That's the only way you're ever going to get those 180% moves is you got to be willing to hold through some of those. I like Stratus. Strong name. Stellar Lumens. Man, that's pretty good. Solid. Didn't even come back to the breakout point here. Not bad. That's what the daily chart is. I think this is one of those names, though, that's going to have some overhead. Everybody got overexcited on this one when it started to bounce off of this IBM news right here. So you probably got a lot of buyers in there. A lot of holders, but, even a retracement move is going to give you 30, maybe 40%. Yeah, that's a doji on Stratus 4-hour. That's why you're kind of wanting to see it break above that. I mean, you can jump on it here, knowing that it might fail the breakout, but at least your stop is a little tight. Vertcoin coming back. Nice little bottom move here, looking like it's strong again. Had a good correction on Vertcoin. Reset the RSI, but didn't crash the RSI, so that's good. It held that 49.50 level. Very good action on Vert. 4-hour chart, pretty good. I mean, pretty tight action here. Had this pre-rally and just base, and today just solid volume coming in on Vert. It's not even that overbought yet, so that's good. Bouncing off the 1 hour. If you like it here, it's probably not a bad buy right here. But Vert's one of those volatile names. You got to give it way more room than most. Otherwise, you will most likely be shaken out. Here was really tight, man. That would have been a good pickup if you liked the Vert. Can't catch them all. Ooh, waves. Man, that one's holding up pretty well. Hardly pulled back at all. Very steady on that one. 4-hour bar. Looking like it wants to break out of that little flag. Daily chart. Very nice volume on the daily here on waves. Waves is good. Might have to look at this one further here. Take a note on waves. Okay. NAM. Didn't see as much participation today. What's up with NAM? Does nobody like NAM anymore? It's actually a pretty good little setup here. With a nice pullback. Right at the breakout point here, putting in a little bit of a handle. There's your breakout point. So you can buy it here with the very tight 3% stop or so. And your breakout point's 3% above. You want to wait for it to break out. Key resistance is going to be that point right there, right around 8%. Let's go to Bitcoin Cash. So kind of sideways, a little shaky here. Let me see what BCC USD looks like. Almost the same. Is that other chart? No, that was BTC. Wow. Pretty unusual for them to be so similar. Man, talk about a shakeout today on Bitcoin Cash. We went from 634 down to 500. Bouncing good though, big support bar. So what are you guys' thoughts on Bitcoin Cash now that B2X is out of the way? I know Bitcoin Cash is doing their own little changeover upgrade here. This daily chart though, that's a solid pattern on the daily chart. I'd almost be looking at this one here, potential entry here if it breaks out. Maybe I go back into Bitcoin Cash from my USD position. That's a nice little setup there. So many trades. So remember what I told you guys. It changes over and you go from not enough trades, just be patient, wait, to suddenly you just got to pick. You got to pick and you got to go with whatever you think is best. Basic attention, ARC. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash. Let me see what's the RSI look like on this one. 72. And if you guys are wondering what my lines are here, this is, I know it's messy. I can read it just because I look at it a lot, but this is MACD and RSI on the same scale there. So I can very easily just switch between the two. And I don't use the histogram on the MACD. I tend to just use the signal cross line. A little less noisy. Bitcoin Cash. I don't know, guys. I'm liking this one. That's a pretty tight action there. Big support bar. This is definitely one you got to wait for it to break out, though. I think it's 650 is your call. If you want to get a little aggressive, 645 or so. That's probably your weight on that one. And that's 5, maybe 6% above. Not bad. I think I'm going to have to do it. Our size kind of declining, but it's going sideways, so that's good. I'll probably just throw a conditional order out on Bitcoin Cash USD. And I'll be looking for about 650 is going to be my entry. I'm going to give it a solid breakout. If I get filled, then I'll be stopping out 6 or 7% below. Going to have to give this one some room, but my hope is it gets filled and clears the 680 mark, and then you can raise your stop, because that's a solid setup. And if it breaks out with any kind of decent volume, it could go up quickly to over 700, then pull back right to 770 or 670, 680, and then start to rally. So that's solid. So all of you Coinbase users that have your Bitcoin Cash locked up, you're going to go from cursing Coinbase to praising them and thanking them for not letting you sell your Bitcoin Cash. All right, guys. Well, we've been going for some time now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Unless you guys got a few more you want me to look at here, but I will be back. I'll be back in about 4 or 5 hours. See where the market's going. This will give me some time to throw some trades out there, throw some notes out for you guys. Just off the top, I will likely put in a conditional order for Bitcoin Cash. Super strong here. That's Bitcoin Cash USD. I will be looking at Go USD. Probably going to put in maybe a pullback order on this one, meaning I will put a buy order at a price below and see if I can catch a low price fill here. And then, we didn't look at Zcash. Let me look at Zcash. And I'm thinking Stratus. Might be looking at Stratus. Zcash is pretty solid here. This is a tough one to play because it moves so fast, and you got to give it some room on this one. But this is solid. I mean, the USD chart of Zcash is really tightening up, starting to round out here. If it starts to get above 250, you might have a nice little run on this one to get you 310 at least, maybe higher. I don't have it on BTC. Let me see what it looks like, Zcash BTC. It's not bad. Starting to bottom out here. Could potentially be doing a little double bottom pattern. Some bullish divergence on the RSI here at the lows. I like that. Let me see here. I don't have 4 hour on here. Thought I did. 4 hour. There's a lot of sell volume coming in there at the top. Still moving up though. That's the thing, right? The general trend on this one is higher. So these type of pullbacks, when you start to see this, is what they call like an ascending base pattern. And the ascending base pattern does like one of these like this. And typically on the third one, it has the pop. And so you're starting to see that, you know, I don't know if this is the first one. Maybe this is the first one, second one. So it's looking pretty good. It's more of a pullback buy, I think. It's probably not bad here. Take it here. I mean, most you give it is below this candle that it held support at, 3%. Sort of low risk entry versus BTC, in my opinion. And I think Zcash USD is looking pretty good. And if you take this one here, see the moving average is down 5 or 6%. So maybe you just wait for a breakout. Let it get above 255 or so USD. Cool. All right, guys. Yep, I'm going to head over to Slack. I'm going to do some more research here on the charts, and I will post some trades and some ideas. But there's going to be a lot to pick from, right? So, and you guys know my position right now is I'm going to try to limit it to like 4, maybe 5 trades at one time. So if there's something else you like that I don't trade, just know how I'm approaching it. Look for those pullbacks, look for the safer entries, or just wait it out and look for a little pop to the tops. But we're going to have to watch Bitcoin. I want to see some positive correlation coming back into this market. I want to see Bitcoin hold or go slightly up and the altcoins rally. We'll see. Okay, guys. See you all on the Slack channel. Thanks for joining. Talk to you later.